make testing affordable, you got to get rid of the human. And then also to make testing valid, you have to have the best lab possible too. So we were fortunate enough to partner with MLab P&K, number one lab in the country, which got acquired recently by Eurofins, which is arguably the number one environmental microbiology lab in the world. And so that was a very powerful partnership. And then to use professional devices actually to actually not reinvent the wheel. Right. So to actually use what's already the standard of care, or I should say the go-to sampling method, which is aerosol cassettes or spore traps, which is the most cost-effective way to quickly take a look at what's going on in your air. So if you want to have your house tested right now and you were to hire a professional, they would come over with an air sampling pump, well, lots of other tools and equipment. But when they're ready to take air samples and do the testing, they'll typically bring out a tripod and an air sampling pump, which is an expensive calibrated device, $1,000 or so. And that will pull air through cassettes that are designed to capture the airborne particulate matter. And we focus on mold spores, but it captures pollen and household dust and various other airborne, primarily bioaerosols. So in other words, biological particulate. So in order for us to be able to get that kind of test, we had to have a device that could actually mimic that professional pump. And so that's one of the innovations that we brought to the table, is we created one that's battery operated, pulls exactly the same flow rate as a professional pump, but it's a fraction of the cost. And so when people buy our kit, they can then keep the pump after they've tested the first time, and then they can reuse it. And each time they reuse it, the refills are $50 less per configuration. So it's a good value for them. So in essence, what we did was we took out inefficiencies, replaced some of the technology, and then the other piece of it is, in order to make the report not a bottleneck for us on the customer service side, we had to make it really easy to understand. We had to make a technical report really accessible to the consumer. And not give them so much information, libraries of mold definitions and all the stuff that you see with a lot of these reports. Nobody needs to know all the different Aspergillus and Penicillium types and what they do. They don't need that. They can go on Google for that. If they want to know what's in their air, we tell them. And so our report is a color-coded there's a color-coded interpretation cover page, green, yellow, orange, or red, depending upon what we find, as well as the lab data, but it's formatted the way I always wanted my lab reports to be formatted. It's just, it's got, it's easy on the eyes, it's color-coded, and it's arranged so that the different spores and types and whether they're water damage indicators or not. And then the third page is the final page, and that includes next steps, resources, free resources, low-cost resources, links to the trade associations that train qualified professionals, both on the inspection side and the remediation side. And what we have found is that out of the several thousand kits that we've sold, we've had a grand total of 2 people that have called and said, "Can you explain my report?" And it wasn't that they needed help; it's that they just wanted to know. They wanted to talk to a human about what to do next. Yeah. So somehow or another, we figured out how to do it, and the results have been great. It's really empowering when you read the reviews. When you see what people are, the kind of relief that this provides people, because they can get their testing done without having to get permission from their husband or wife or from their boss, or and then they can keep the results themselves, or they can use it to leverage getting the landlord to do something. There's real power in data. There's real empowerment in giving people the tools and knowledge they need to make better decisions. And so from that perspective, it's been incredibly gratifying.
Yeah, no, it sounds like an amazing journey to get this in the hands of more people, which is so necessary, and break down those barriers to entry for many of those.